Yo, what is good, everybody? We are here. We are back. I've been on hiatus for a little bit, but your boy is back after this debacle win over the Tennessee Titans. We got my bro in the chat, Mr. Mike Streeter. Hey, listen, you want to look for true hip hop and an artist that got talent? This man right here. If y'all don't know, now you know. Please do me a favor and go look him up because that's greatness in the waiting right there. Y'all need to go check his music out. Matter of fact, if you got a link to your music, drop it or text it to me and I'll put it in the description after the show. So definitely do that, please. Now, now let's talk about this. And he made that comment for a reason because he know me and he know exactly how I feel. First and foremost, let me make sure you can hear me clearly. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me clearly. Just checking to make sure because I am having some technical difficulties with my equipment over here. So just let me know if you can hear me clearly. Hopefully, everything's going through just fine. But assuming, see on my side it says I'm clear. So assuming you can hear me here, I'm going. All right, we got the thumbs up. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. First half, Ravens did what they do in the first half, right? We came out, we stuck to the script, we showed extreme skill and ability to get the ball down the field. um, but we didn't finish. We struggled to finish once again. And I mean, there could be a number of reasons why this is. There could be a number of reasons why the team is struggling to finish. But at the end of the day, I think it's just, our best bet for scoring points now is going to be to score from a ways out, right? We're going to have to score from 10 to 15 yards out to be able to get points on the board because it's looking like the closer we get to the end zone, the more struggle we have. And that's understandable because it's less field for a defense to defend, right? And it's hard to stretch them out in that point at that point of the field. But we're not grounding and pounding with Gus Edwards. At least not we're not doing it effectively near the end zone. And I think that's something we need to worry about. Does that mean that Gus Edwards isn't good enough? I think he is. He's a back that tends to get positive yardage, and he's a guy that deserves to be on the field, especially with JK out. So I think he's doing a phenomenal job. It's just near the end zone, we can't fit. We don't got the proper push up front. Now that could be because we have an undersized offensive line when it comes to our center, John Simpson, and those guys they're smaller guys. And then Ronnie Stanley does not look healthy. I mean, say what you will, but he is getting bullied at left tackle. So with that being the case, you're eliminating half the line to run behind, and that's a problem. That is an absolute problem, and it creates more struggles for the offense for finding a way to score in those tight areas of the field. And we got the Rogue Pod in the building. Y'all go over to his channel. He dropped a great video. He snuck in a live last night at 3 a.m. I was watching it this morning. I can't believe you snuck one in on us, but we appreciate the content. Always come with the fire content. And you're right. Stanley doesn't look good. Stanley doesn't look good at all. And Justice is one of horror balls. You say horrible because he's a horrible head coach. He is one of his favorites. And I like Justice Hill. But there's certain things that he can't do. You was on your J-ish because Jay be sneaking them streams and you caught us lacking last night. You caught us lacking for real. I was knocked out. But I started watching it this morning. I got to finish it up, but I started watching it. So this offense, first half, I made a comment. I was watching some of Coach's live stream when he was doing the first half of the game, right? He did the full game. If you don't know who I'm talking about Sip to Tally Films, Coach Evans. Check out his channel. Go like, share, subscribe. I was watching his watch along, and I made a comment. I said, excited. We got all excited for nothing because the Ravens put together a drive and then finished with three. And he was saying that there was a reason to be excited because they showed, they showed us a drive we hadn't seen before. But my argument against that is they show us the drive every game. Every game this year, we've had 1 to 2 very exciting drives where we get down the field. It's like, okay, this is the offense we're looking for. This is the offense we expected. But guess what? It's only in the first half, right? It's only in the scripted half of football. For some reason, the first half is the only time we can play good football. And had it not been for a terrible Titans offensive line and terrible Titans quarterbacks, we probably lose this game. We came out in the second half and only put up 2 field goals. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable from an offense that you expect to be among one of the best offenses in the league, right? We supposedly have the talent. I know we got the quarterback. This ain't on Lamar. We got the quarterback. It seems that this scheme is falling short of what it's supposed to be. The coaching, we're seeing lack of adjustments on the offensive side of the ball. Now, where does that sound familiar? Our last offensive coordinator, I'm not even going to mention his name. We all know who he is. We all hated him. But our last offensive coordinator lacked to have the ability to adjust his game plan in the second half of football games. And guess what? Same thing here. And Hendo says it here. I am not excited. We played hurt and bad teams. And this is absolutely correct. Listen, I've said from the beginning of the season, I said that the Baltimore Ravens are a middle of the pack team. And they've done nothing but prove that. They're undisciplined and they're playing not great football. I mean, look at Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton gets disqualified from the game because of I'm not going to call it a dirty hit, but a bad play on a defenseless receiver. Why are you leaning in at his helmet with your helmet? Why are you doing that? Why is that still something you're doing in the game of football when you know you cannot do that? These are things that has to be cleaned up by coaching. I'm not saying it's something that happens regularly because it's not, right? It's a bang, bang play. So you have a quick time you have to make that decision. But this should be drilled into their minds, right? Absolutely, yes. And that's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making right there. You know what I mean? You can't have that. He should know better, right? I will say this. This might be a result of John Harbaugh getting the team out to London on Monday and giving them time to get acclimated, whereas the Titans came in on Friday. And it makes it hard for a team to adjust when you travel overseas, the time is all over the place. Everything changes, everything's different. And then you had to get acclimated to getting this game done. So maybe let's say that affected the Titans a little bit, right? Because when we played in London last, it definitely affected us because we lost 44-17 to the Jacksonville Jaguars team that was not that good. So we're going to say that the Titans was affected by that and still somehow hung around in this game. Now, hats off to the defense. Hats off to the defense. I get it. The Titans is a bad offense, right? But the defense did their job. They took advantage of a bad offense. That's what you're supposed to do as a defense. Mike McDonald is doing his best to put players in a position to make plays. You just have some players making dumb mistakes. Like the penalties on Arthur Mollett. Mollett was trying to give this game away at the end. I'm just going to point that out. He was trying his hardest. Back-to-back PIs down there. Arthur Mollett was trying to give this game away to the Titans, right? This team played phenomenal defense for a majority of the game. The first half, absolutely locked down. Only gave up 3 points. Absolute lockdown defense. Second half, a little bit different. They broke off some plays, but I akin that to the Titans made some positive adjustments, right? The Titans offensive coordinator came out and said, okay, we got to change some things. And who's to say that this game doesn't end differently if Tannehill, who's not a good quarterback, but if Tannehill doesn't get hurt, this game probably ends differently. If Tannehill doesn't get hurt, he's not a quarterback that's necessarily afraid to get hit. He's not afraid to run. He's not afraid to throw the ball out there. Like, he's smart enough to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Whereas Malik Willis, God bless his heart, I really want this kid to turn out to be a really good quarterback, but he's looking really bad. He still doesn't have a grasp on the offense. He does not have the mental capacity yet of the game of football as far as the NFL goes to get rid of the ball quickly. He's still pump faking too much, holding on to the ball too long. And in that play where he decided to try to fight for extra yards instead of going out of bounds, you can't do that. You can't do that. He should have just stepped out of bounds, saved the clock, kept his team close. Instead, he tried to fight for extra yards, ended up getting a penalty on his offense and losing yardage and going backwards. But it's one of those things where you got to make smarter decisions. And we got Mr. J in the building, another great content creator. You said you like to look. I got the little bowl on the top too. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Purple and black represent them Ravens out here, even though they don't look too great this year. But still got to represent because I love my boys. And we know you got a Panthers one. Yeah, see, you got one. You just got to get another one. Look, listen, these hats is fire. I love these, man. I will wear this all the time. But I'm going to start breaking out some. Oh, and Jay, you like fitteds too, right? Boom. I figured you'd like this one. I usually wear this one on stream. But the Titans made, and I was just about to bring this up. And like you talking about right on time comments, I was just about to bring this up. They get all the way down there, and they don't put their go-to guy back in the game. Heavy hitting Henry. How do you not put him in the game on the 1 yard line to get in the end zone? That's an automatic touchdown if he's in the game. And then we're looking at a different game again, right? So there were some coaching blunders on both sides to me. Harbaugh was smart enough to take whatever field goals he got, because essentially that's what won us the game. It's taking those field goals. That and a beautiful, beautiful interception by Geno Stone, who was cementing himself as a starting safety in the NFL. Beautiful interception by Geno Stone. He read the play, he undercut it, and it was an underthrown ball anyway. And that was one of the signs that was Tannehill showing himself as a bad QB on that underthrown ball, because if he puts that up over the receiver's head, that might be a touchdown. But it's an underthrown ball. Geno Stone sees it, he undercuts it, gets the interception. So great play on his behalf. But and you're right, Hamilton would not make that play because he's not a coverage safety. Hamilton covers, so he can't cover a player. He can cover an area, but not a player, right? So that's why he's so great in the box, because we can say, hey, cover the flat and, make plays on the QB. But he showed today that if he was that guy, he would have been there to break up the pass on to Chris Moore or get an interception on the pass to Chris Moore that got him kicked out the game in the first place. He's just not that guy. And Jay says it here, Hamilton is a DN, and I agree. He's 6'4", 220-pound DN that plays safety because he's got some speed, right? And I want to applaud. A part of me wants to applaud the defensive line for getting so much pressure on the QB with their front four. Like we got a lot of sacks today without blitzing, but I can't give them the full credit I want to give them because I know how they play when they play against an actual defense decent offensive line. The Titans' offensive line is in shambles. They looked worse than us. That was abysmal. I mean, I've peeked in at Titans games here and there, but I haven't like fully watched the Titans as of lately. That was an absolute that was a debacle. I've never seen an offensive line that bad. Like, I know they're a bad team, but Jesus, that offensive line is terrible, terrible. Hendo says it here. They're a terrible team. I listen. They are a terrible football team, right? But what does that say about us and the fact that we let them hang around? We couldn't put that terrible team out of their misery. What does that say about the Ravens? Nothing good, right? That doesn't make us a good team. The good teams would have went in there and stomped them out. Let that have been Miami. Let that have been Philly. Let that have been 49ers. Man, this game would have been different. We got some stuff to clean up. And Marlo is not ready to play. I think he's playing hurt. That surgery, he's still healing. Because, and you're right, we will see next Sunday. And I don't know, man. I'm nervous. I don't feel good about it. But Marlo does not seem right to me. I mean, he's not playing terrible, but getting caught. He armbarred D-Hop early on. A lot of people didn't think that was a PI. That's a PI. He hooked the man's arm. It's a pass interference. And it's to the point where you would think the team would have Marlo shadow D-Hop. You know how many times I looked out there and seen Brandon Stevens in coverage? Right now, to this date, right now, Brandon Stevens is the best cornerback on the Baltimore Ravens roster. Whoever thought I'd be saying that? Because Marlo has not looked great. He hasn't looked terrible. He hasn't even looked bad, but he just looks like he's not fully himself. And it's understandable. He just had surgery, right? He can't come in and be a world beater at corner after having surgery. So I think he's still getting himself together. But that's a big ups to Brandon Stevens because he's playing a lot better than I thought he ever would. I just think there's a lot of problems that this team has to find a way to solve if they're going to not only make the playoffs, but go somewhere in the playoffs. And that brings up, I actually, now that I'm on it, I have usually every week, and I will be back to it this week. Last week I missed it because I was sick. I missed my stream last week. So I've been down and out. You could probably still hear it in my voice a little bit. But I usually do my hero and zero of the week. And now we're in week 6. Week 5, it was my zero of the week was the Baltimore Ravens wide receiver room, who showed much improved today. They didn't drop like they did last week, so big ups to them. And my hero last week was TJ Watt. And it all came from one game because watching TJ Watt show up when his team needed him and dominate when his team needed him was absolutely amazing. And that's all what being a hero is about. You show up when you're called upon. Even when you're not called upon, he shows up. You show up, you show out, you do your job. That's the definition of what TJ Watt does regularly. So big ups to him on being the hero of week 5. Week 6 is going to be interesting. I got more games to watch. We're going to find a hero this week, but it doesn't come from that Baltimore Ravens game. I'll tell you that. It does not. Because even though this was a win, and congratulations on the win, I'm happy we won. I'll always be happy when we win. but I'm afraid for this team and where they might be going. So let's address some things. Let's start with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, outside of one bad throw, with the interception, which might have just been miscommunication between him and Bateman, played a really good game. I mean, he did just about as well as you can ask him to, showing his escapability. I think he has lost a step when it comes to speed. I think he slowed down just a little bit, but he played a great game. Played a great game. He protected the ball in the pocket, protected the ball when running. So 0 fumbles. This is the first week, I believe. 0 fumbles from him running the ball. 0 fumbles from Lamar Jackson at all. So I can appreciate that. And that shows that he had a problem. He corrected it. I love it. The handoffs, as we go over to talk about running backs now, the handoffs looked clean. Everything, when he was handing the ball off, the fakes, it all looked clean, which is good. That means they got to work on it in practice because it's been sketchy through the first 5 weeks. So they got to work on it in practice. They improved on it, and they're going to continue to build on that. Now, Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards got a majority of the carries today. I want to say he got a majority of carries. I seen Justice did get a lot of plays, and it's fine. You want to split the backs, that's fine. But Justice did what he does best. He ran forward, he fell forward, and he picked up some good yardage, even catching the ball out of the backfield. He did a great job. So good job on Gus. He just didn't, finish at the end zone the one chance he got, which he deserves more chances. There's a lot of justice around the goal line, which I don't understand. That's a John Harbaugh decision, I'm assuming. And we're just going to leave that at that. Justice didn't show the ability to shake guys today. It was usually he was usually down after the first contact today. That's good job on Titans defense, right? Good job by their defensive line to close in on the running backs and make plays. Gus still did his thing though. So overall, the running back room was decent. I was hoping to see Keaton Mitchell on offense. We did not get that. Maybe they thought he wasn't ready. He played special teams. I saw that, but he did not get a handoff or a catch whatsoever. None that I noticed. Now we're going to move over to the wide receiver room. Zay Flowers is a very talented wide receiver. His speed is crazy. He's got good hands. He showed up. OBJ had a big play today. Not much after that, but that was the big play he had was huge and it was needed, right? Nelly is being more consistent. He's about that. He's going to get the ball about that middle area and maybe get you some yards after catch. And he's out there trying to make plays. And there is some distrust there. They're still learning each other, right? They're still learning the offense. They're still learning how each other operate. It's going to happen. Nobody's perfect right away. So it's going to happen. It's going to get there. They're going to grow. They're going to be better. But overall, the offense, the wide receivers did very well. And I appreciate their play. They went out there. They said, we're not going to have another week like last week. And they did. Duvernay, you should have scored on that punt return. How'd you let the punter get you? How did you let the punter push you out of bounds? Hit him with a juke. Spin move, something. You hit him with something. Give him a little fake, a little shimmy. Do something. Do whatever you got to do. Do whatever you got to do. But you got to score on that play. That was unacceptable. Because after you did not score there, guess what? We yielded nothing but a field goal. So we needed you to score on that play. Right? Anyway, on to the tight ends. Charlie Kolar played for no reason. Isaiah Likely played. for no reason. And Mark Andrews, he had a couple of catches. He had a couple of catches. Yeah, Jay, I agree. I really needed Dude to make that touchdown. That was highly disappointing. And yeah, Mark Andrews had a couple of big catches. So good on him for he had I think it was two big first down catches. Whatever. Right? Mark Andrews isn't top two. He's not there. He might be the third best tight end in the league, but he's not outside. One and two, we know, is Kelsey and Kittle. Mark is the next tier down, but he's better than some of the rest. But he's the next tier down. He's just not what those guys are. Plain and simple. But he's a darn good tight end. So don't get me wrong with that. Darn good tight end, but he's not those guys. And we've seen some miscommunication between him and Lamar on that one play that we're lucky didn't end up in a pick six where Lamar's throwing outside because that's where you expect Andrews to be. And Andrews, with his free reins and deciding what he wanted to do with routes, he cut it inside. Who was wrong there? We don't know. I'm sure coach is going to look at the tape and break that down at some point. But there was definite miscommunication, and it needs to be cleaned up. Whether that's taking free reins away from Mark Andrews and sticking more to the script or what it is, it needs to be cleaned up. This is 2 weeks in a row he was in a spot where he probably shouldn't have been. Because last week, I think he interrupted or ended up dropping what probably would have been a touchdown pass to Zay Flowers last week. But he undercut it and dropped it. So we're just going to, let that sit where it may. Offensive line. We had a terrible holding call on Morgan Moses on what was a big play that got called back. We had Ronnie Stanley getting whipped like he stole something all day long. That man was doing the best back pedal I've ever seen. He was moonwalking. He was on his Thriller joint today. He was getting his moonwalk on all day today. He was moonwalking like Mike Jack. He was back like Mike Jack. He was doing it. He was moonwalking it all day. We saw John Simpson go down. He came back, luckily. Right there, I almost lost it. Like an African Jay. Say it again, bro. Say it again. But John Simpson got hurt. I was afraid at that point because I was like, I don't know who they're going to bring in. He got hurt, but he came back in. That, on the play he got hurt on, this blew my mind. They decide on 3rd and 1 that their starting left guard just got hurt. We're going to run it out of the shotgun behind the left side. We try to pick this up. Knowing Stanley had been getting beat upside the head all day long. And that's exactly what happened. Stanley got beat upside the head again. And that left side did not win that battle. We settled again. So the offensive line is looking porous. We're in trouble. And then later in the game, they had a sneak they tried to run with Mark Andrews, again trying to be like the Chiefs. We not them, dog. That's not what we do. Like, we not whatever. I mean, we shouldn't have this conversation. We not the Chiefs, dog. We not. That's not what we do. And while Andrews probably could have got it, that he probably would have gotten it had Linderbaum been able to stay on his feet. Linderbaum snapped the ball. He went forward about 2 inches and was done. Next thing you know, you saw him folding backwards on the ground. That's not what he does. Linderbaum is not going to bully these big D tackles like that, especially not with a line, not against a line like the Titans. One of the best defensive lines in football, right? So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna fight it too much, but we got to make some smarter play calls in those decisions. And Jay here says, not even close. The Chiefs build up their later round pick. This is true. Even the undrafted free agents. This is true. And we've been struggling with that. I mean, Yes, we have this record where every single year an undrafted free agent makes the roster, but it means nothing if they're not going to perform. We get 37 draft picks and then it means nothing because they're not on the field or they can't play or they're hurt, right? And that's something that we've become accustomed with now is drafting injured players and then saying they're supposed to be the next big thing. Culture needs to change in Baltimore. Coaching needs to change in Baltimore. It's time to flip the team around, right? You got your franchise quarterback. And yes, big ups. You went out and got him some weapons. But guess what? You got him injured weapons. What are we doing with OBJ? What are we doing? We seen miscommunication between him and Lamar today as well. It is what it is. I guess the offense will get fixed when it gets fixed, right? Give them some more time, let them gel together. I don't know how much more time you need than 6 weeks, but it is what it is. Let's go over to the defensive side of the ball. The defensive line, we'll start with them. Jadeveon Clowney has consistently been in the backfield every single game, and he did it again here today, and he finished. If he got to the QB today, he finished the play. He wrapped up, he brought him down. I don't know if that's something he just started working on, clasping them hands to get them hands together. I don't know if he was just like doing grip strength training, or I don't know what he was doing, but he was bringing the QB down today. So I applaud you for finishing them plays. Jadeveon, thank you. Thank you for being the man today, right? Kyle Van Noy has been a surprising pickup. Kyle Van Noy is not only did he rush the passer today, normally he's out there defending passes, whatnot. This man was all over the QB today. Now, maybe we award all this to the Titans having a terrible offensive line, like I said earlier in the stream, but big ups on that defensive line for taking advantage of that terrible Titans line. Travis Jones eating double teams, still trying to break through. Matabike being in there on like a sack and a half, I think it was, something like that. So, or it might end up being one full sack. I think it was 2 half sacks. I'm not completely sure on the stats. But he was back there all day too. So great game by Matabike. Great game by Travis Jones, the Russian, Van Noy, Jadeveon Clowney. Those guys played a great game. You took advantage of a bad offensive line. That's what you're supposed to do. I'm proud of you guys. Roquan Smith. Let's talk about the linebackers. Roquan Smith and PQ. Man, they look like some missiles out there in the middle of the field. Sideline to sideline, these boys was making plays. There's one play that sticks out to me. 2 plays that stick out to me specifically. Right, 2. One play, Titans are down, about to score. Right, they're down there, they're their side of the end zone, and they run a player across the field. And PQ starts to follow. And then Rowe starts to follow. When PQ sees Rowe follow, he turns. He's all the way at the opposite side of the offensive line now. He turns. They hike the ball. He tracks his way all the way back around to where the ball was on the screenplay and makes the tackle to save the first down. Phenomenal play by Patrick Queen. Phenomenal play. He showed his speed. So did Rowe. It's Roquan, the other play that stood out to me. Titans getting ready to run the ball. I think it was a 3rd and short. They're handing it to Derrick Henry. And Rowe absolutely darts through the hole and shuts down Derrick Henry in the backfield. That's stuff that you love to see from your defense. They played phenomenal. Let's talk about the back end. The back end was a little questionable today. Although they didn't give up a ton of pass completions, they're questionable because they got several penalties. That pass interference on Marlon Humphrey. You had a pass interference and illegal contact on, I think it was 2 pass interference and an illegal contact on Arthur Millette. So the defensive backs, you had Kyle Hamilton targeting, gets ejected from the game. Not once. He targeted not once but twice. So It's it's a question of what's going on with the discipline in the backfield. Marcus Williams injured himself again, but he played a good game. He had a good pass breakup where he came and knocked the pass down at the last second late in the game. So it's not like they played a glaring bad game where they gave up a lot of big receptions or anything like that. But they had one of those games where you look at it and you go, they could have got beat if this team had a better quarterback. And it would have been embarrassing. If Tannehill could have put one of those fade passes anywhere in the zone of where D Hop was, we're looking at a different game. But every last one of them he threw was 20 yards above his head. Of course, you're not going to get that penalty. If the refs would have called that penalty, it would have been atrocious. It was too atrocious. The ball was not catchable. So, good job picking up the flag on that play. But our cornerback room, hopefully, Marlowe starts to get, healthier, get better, and these guys can pick it up and be who they're supposed to be. Big up to Brandon Stevens. He played well. I'm not gonna knock him. He had one defensive penalty on him. I believe it was a pass interference on him. It is what it is. Outside of that, he played well. Outside of Humphrey's pass interference call, I think he played pretty well, but he's still been looking rough for the last couple weeks. This defense, at the end of the day, saved the Ravens from a loss because their offense cannot get it going in the second half. So now it's going to be a requirement of we come out in the first half of games and we have to put up 18 to 24 points in the first half. Because we were up 18-3, and that wasn't safe by the end of the game. So we got to put up 20 plus points in the first half and hope that the defense can hold on, because otherwise we're going to start losing games left and right, especially against these high-powered offenses. So we have to show and prove. We have to prove we belong and prove we deserve. Right now, we're not showing that. Right now, we look like a weak team who's getting lucky, and I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Good win, though. Or actually, it was a terrible win. It was a win. A win is a win. We're always going to be happy about a win. It was a great showing by the offense in the first half as far as getting the ball down the field. I was looking at the stat card at halftime and how we were blowing them out statistics wise, and it just gave me flashbacks of every other game this season. It gave me flashbacks of last week against the Steelers where we had all the yardage and we were moving the ball and they didn't, but all we put up was 10 points. And I got it. It kind of irritated me a little bit. I got really nervous, and I just realized, like, this is the Ravens. This is who we are, right? We're a first half football team now, and I can't even act like it's something new because it was the same last year. It was the same the year before. Actually, last year and the year before that, we were more of a second half football team. I think at least second quarter, we were starting slow. Remember, we had the issue of for years where we couldn't get the ball down the field to start the games. And then things would change when Lamar would take over. So we seem to not be able to find a consistent middle ground where we can just move the ball all game long. And that's going to haunt us if we can't figure it out. But it sounds like a John Harbaugh thing. Maybe his message is stale. I don't know if he's having input on the offense when he shouldn't be. I don't know what's going on, but it's looking rough at times. Could definitely be better. Harbaugh, I know I don't say it enough. I mean, actually, I probably say it too much. And then I know a bunch of other guys like Hendo from the Rogue Pod, like Jada Six, like my normal co-host that's here. We all believe it's time for Harbs to go, and it's time for a new coaching regime. And we're going to stick to that. And I'm going to stick to that because it's time to change in Baltimore, because if we don't, we're going to continue to be a middle of the pack team forever. Congratulations to Baltimore Ravens. Y'all Like, share, subscribe. Your boy's gonna get out of here. It's been a great time streaming, great time. Feels good being back on the screen, back with my people. Thank y'all for coming through. I love y'all. Check out my store, Etsy.com/LivinBigwithBigRegg. Get your merch. There's more coming soon. I'm having a problem with my editing equipment. Trying to get it together. I apologize, y'all. Life is life, man. You know how it go. But y'all stay blessed. Check your boy out. We will be back Thursday for another live stream. Thursday night and Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. Look for your shorts on this week, week 6's Heroes and Zero of the weekend. Y'all catch me on TikTok. I ain't post no videos lately, but you can find me on TikTok, Living Big with Big Reg, X, or Twitter, Living Big with Big Reg, and here on YouTube. Yes, Jay, Thursday. Usually I do the Thursday night football, so hopefully I will be back this week. That's the plans. My schedule tends to throw me off at times, but the plans is to be back there again this week. So y'all have a blessed Sunday. Continue watching football. Let's watch some of these other teams play and actually be successful at what they do. I love y'all. Stay blessed. Peace.